Chinese millionaires are still expected to flee the country this year. Technicians find that WeChat records and uploads computer logs. Senior US Treasury official traveled to Hong Kong. Unusually urgent. China holds meetings with business leaders seeking to revitalize economy. Chinese millionaires are anticipated to continue their departure from the country this year, as reported by investment migration consultancy Henley & Partners. The sluggish economy and stricter political controls implemented by the government are driving this trend. The Henley Private Wealth Migration Report predicts a net outflow of 13,500 high-net-worth individuals in China, adding to the loss of millionaires over the past decade. With an estimated 823,800 millionaires in the country, the emigration wave could result in significant capital leaving China, further exacerbating its economic slowdown. Andrew Amoyles, head of research at New World Wealth, points out that China's wealth growth has been declining in recent years, making these outflows potentially more damaging than before. According to Bloomberg, the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP's, decision to end the zero-COVID policy last year also played a role in accelerating the departure of wealthy Chinese individuals who are investing their cash in overseas properties and assets. Before the pandemic, China faced an annual capital flight of around $150 billion from people going overseas. However, Alicia Garcia Herrero, chief economist for Asia Pacific at Natixis SA, suggests that the amount could be even higher in 2023. Due to the travel limitations of the past 3 years. Singapore has become a favored destination for Chinese wealth, attracting an inflow of money and increasing housing prices and living costs. Henley & Partners data shows that in 2022, approximately 10,800 millionaires emigrated to Singapore. Credit Suisse Group AG's report reveals that China has the world's second largest number of ultra-rich individuals, with over 32,000 people holding wealth exceeding $50 million, trailing only the United States. Recently, network technicians in Taiwan found that the popular Chinese app WeChat had set up encrypted log files on personal computers and may have uploaded this data. Some users also said that WeChat occupies much space on their computers and mobile phones that cannot be deleted. WeChat has become one of the communication or payment tools for most users in China and other parts of the world. Ahao, a network researcher in Taiwan, recently appeared in a video about WeChat's 24-hour user data monitoring. The video has gone viral, raising security concerns about using WeChat. Ahao said in the video that some users claim WeChat took up 1 gig or G of space on their computers. At first, he thought it was nothing, but then he found the problem complicated. He explained, "This 1 G of space turned out to be a bunch of encrypted log files, which intrigued me greatly. Under normal circumstances, it is fine for a software to take up computer space to record some logs. But why is it encrypted? The point is that this is my computer, but I am not allowed to see it. It's really unreasonable. The most frightening thing is that WeChat may have uploaded these files." Ahao said he used an Apple laptop and other testing tools to open his computer's hard drive containing WeChat. He said, "Because we wanted to see which files were read and written by WeChat, we chose the file monitoring function. We selected the monitoring program, then turned on the monitoring and recording function. During this time, the WeChat software stays silent in the background. After about 5 minutes, we can see WeChat's activity data on the computer in that period." He said the result shows, "The display is a bunch of garbled characters, which have been encrypted. We didn't operate WeChat for at least 5 minutes, and it seems to have been silent in the background. Then, why are these log files still being generated? From my observation, this file grows about 30 kilobytes every 3 to 8 minutes on my computer, which makes me feel really uncomfortable." Ahao says that he will modify the relevant encrypted data stored in his computer so that the other party cannot read it. However, most users do not have Ahao's professional skills, nor can they judge whether their personal computers and mobile phones have been hacked. Tsai, a WeChat user, said that most users are aware of WeChat's collection of their data, but they need to use it for convenience in work and life. He said, "My mobile phone has more than 500 G of memory. And now WeChat takes up more than 200 G. I sometimes delete WeChat and reinstall it, but still take up a lot of G during short periods of inactivity. So this kind of surveillance is certain, because now people mostly get information through WeChat. Now I post some pictures and moments occasionally, and basically don't talk at other times. Public welfare activist He Peirong said, I also found that WeChat takes up a lot of memory space, and it cannot be deleted on mobile phones. After learning of this matter, I have 2 spare mobile phones all year round. One mobile phone uses WeChat and domestic software. The other mobile phone is for personal use with foreign apps installed. According to official Chinese data, as of December last year, the number of WeChat users reached about 1.3 billion. But there are many concerns about WeChat's security. Among them, data monitoring. Earlier reports revealed that the WeChat company had cooperated with the Chinese Communist regime in data monitoring and provided some sensitive information to regime agencies, raising concerns about restrictions and surveillance of personal information and speech. A top US Treasury official has been in Hong Kong in another high-profile yet silent visit to mainland China. The department confirmed with Nikkei Asia that Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Asia, Robert Kaproth, was recently in Asia's financial hub. Sources said he met with private and public sector representatives on June 9th and discussed macroeconomic and economic developments in the city and the mainland. He also talked with industry groups, including the Asia Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association, which the outlet said is a financial body in the region. Kaproth already saw Chinese officials in Beijing in March, a delicate period when tensions between the US and China were boiling over the spy balloon fiasco. The Wall Street Journal, which first reported the visit, also said the topic of the discussions was macroeconomic and financial issues. The White House is working on an outbound screening mechanism for US investment in China, which is expected to affect many investors that depend on Hong Kong to raise private equity for Chinese enterprises. However, the Treasury has also said the plan would only focus on investments in sensitive technologies that could harm national security, such as advanced semiconductors. Reportedly, some US lawmakers have advocated for broader screenings. While the White House persisted in holding out an olive branch to Beijing, China has maintained a disgruntled attitude. Even as Secretary of State Antony Blinken is scheduled to arrive in the Chinese capital on June 18th, Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang reportedly told him to show respect, as the South China Morning Post reported. China convened urgent meetings with business leaders to find ways to grow the country's economy. The tone of the discussions was described as unusually urgent amid waning confidence. As reported by Bloomberg on June 14th, top officials had met with the executives at least 6 times in recent weeks. Leaders pressured those assembled for suggestions on how to boost the economy, rebuild confidence in the private sector, and revitalize the real estate market. Business executives and economists responded by urging the government to make quick changes to its policies and switch to a more market-driven strategy for growth, rather than a planning-led approach. According to one participant, high-level government officials and approximately 10 other attendees at a meeting about 2 weeks ago agreed that stronger and better coordinated monetary and fiscal stimulus is required. All attendees shared pressing concerns over the ambiguity of the timing and form of any stimulus. According to a person familiar with the situation, senior officials from regulators and other government authorities recently met with executives in Beijing. They solicited their recommendations on encouraging private businesses and foreign investors to return to or develop in China. Deputy China Research Director at Gavical Dragonomics, Christopher Better, said, "Officials are clearly aware that the economy is not booming, and animal spirits remain sluggish. An official readout typically follows regular meetings between senior state leaders, economists, and executives. The 6 consultations in recent weeks didn't result in a statement, and seemed to have been more ad hoc in nature."